On the podcast that we put up about Jason Scheer on the show, follow the money. It's way bigger in the Big 12. And he's the one that last week put up a tweet involving the Big 12 and Pac-12 as well. Trey's no longer at ESPN, but he's very much tied in. Also has an incredibly popular podcast and does quite a bit.
What I would say, I think another reason like that people think the money is different, or it could be that different, is the Big 12 can be something new. The Pac-12 really can't, and now it can't ever be what it was. So that's where the Pac-12 has a problem, is that the Big 12 can be totally something new. We're adding all the things in. And, yeah, look, Baylor's a small school, and TCU's small, and, the state of Iowa is not big, and they only have one of the schools in there. Kansas isn't a big state. The population basis and all that. But when you add in UCF, Cincinnati, BYU, Houston, schools that are growing, schools that used to be called just commuter schools, which a lot of them have grown further beyond that. Now, those schools have grown. The Big 12 can be something. The Pac-12 cannot reinvent something to be what they were. And they can't really be something new that doesn't make them admit this is not as good as it was. So while, you could add San Diego State or UNLV or something, their mission for a long time has been run in the opposite direction of schools like that. So having to admit that and do that in the search of maybe money is maybe money, not definite money. Maybe money is really hard. So that's why I think a lot of people think that the Big 12 is in a better spot than the Pac-12, because they are building something new, is where the Pac-12 can't ever be to what it was. And if it tries to build something new based on where it is and what it's doing, it can't really be something new and exciting either.
Yeah, just be a hypocrite in so many ways. Yeah, I mean, we've heard for years the Pac-12 tout its academics and this and that. And, yeah, if they were to turn around and go add some of those West Coast schools, and they'd suddenly have to back away from those statements a little bit. Because, man, I've seen it from the Pac-12 fans, a bunch of basically calling the Big 12 a bunch of redneck Central State schools. I mean, you'd think that there was just no education being had over here. You'd think that there's just like I don't know. It's the perception is eye-opening, and the stereotype fits. So there's the elitist sort of, we're better than you, and it's just, I don't know, man. I just don't view people and things like that. Like if the Pac-12 was, if the roles reversed and Baylor was going to the Pac-12 or Texas Tech or whoever, I'd be like, hey, great, cool, go for it or whatever. But this stomach churning that some people have over playing teams from Texas or playing in Oklahoma or Iowa or whatever, it's like, who the hell are you, man? Like, who are you? What makes you so great? You were born in Washington? Cool. Like, I mean, this air of superiority is weird. And I know it comes from all sides of it as well. I've just seen just a rash of the Pac-12 side of it on my feed here over the last few minutes. But, yeah, I mean, the Big 12's got its snobs too, and, of course, the Big 10 and the SEC do. But everybody's fighting for the same thing when all is said and done. But you're right, Paul. The Pac-12 is a West Coast conference, and that's barring a alliance with the ACC, pretty much all it's ever going to be, whereas the Big 12 already stretches from the eastern seaboard to the middle of the country and now all the way to Utah. And with a couple of additions, it could be coast to coast, just like, a couple of others are or will be. So I do think that right there, the Big 12 has an advantage. I also know that I could spend 5 minutes reading why the Pac-12 has this upper hand, and I could spend another 5 minutes reading why they're both dead, and I could spend another 5 minutes reading why, I mean, it's what you want to believe at this point, and I'm sticking to just the things that we kind of hear recurring, and that is that the Pac-12 is still trying to figure it out, and they're still trying to find a way to save themselves. And some people think it's obvious that they're in a better position, and some people, like myself, don't think it's that obvious. And I don't even know how much does Notre Dame matter in this anymore. I mean, because it's almost like you don't even bring them up, but it's like, oh yeah, that's a factor as well. So it's amazing. Realignment is a crazy beast, and it's turned into a little civil war with Pac-12 and Big 12 fans, and the SEC and Big 10 fans are just pointing and laughing because they created it all. They created the entire thing with Oklahoma and Texas, and with USC and UCLA. They got what they wanted, and now they're just laughing at the other two, the infighting going on.
And they feel like nobody will ever blank with who they have in their territory.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
From Matt in the 801, love the BYU